In 2005, an incident arose called the Enumclaw horse sex case. This case involved a Boeing engineer named Kenneth Pinion, a truck driver named James Michael Tate, and other unidentified men. These men filmed Pinion receiving anal sex from a black horse on multiple occasions. The horse went by the name Big Dick, and the man, Kenneth Pinion, went anonymously by the name Mr. Hands. On the day of his death, Pinion received fatal internal injuries due to the horse's massive penis. Yes guys, we are of course back with another video. Now, as you guys know, I did take a few days break, well almost 2 weeks now it'll have been, just to sort of clear my head. You know, the Ukraine stuff going on, it was very sad, and it did of course hit me quite a bit, and it really sort of demotivated me a little bit. But at the same time, I didn't really want to be covering sore subject matters and making myself feel even more down, so I just took a little break and from all the bad stuff, and yeah, just chilled out. Watched a bit of Star Wars and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, which are pretty good actually. Yeah, pretty good. But yeah, we're back and we're starting it off again with something a little bit weird, which I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about before. So we're going to talk about that little shock video called Mr. Hands. Now, until last night, while I was making notes about this, I never knew that this was a whole case in itself. I didn't know that it was called the Enumclaw horse sex case. I thought it was just one video of a guy named Mr. Hands getting screwed by a horse, which some of you may have heard about and possibly seen. So obviously there's not much to say about the video itself. It's just a man being bummed by a horse, and to put it bluntly, the horse penis ruined his internal organs, particularly his colon, and he died. This video actually caused a bill to be put into place by the Washington State legislature which actually prohibited the act of sex with animals and the taping of sex with animals. And they also said that if you get caught going at it with an animal that isn't human, you can rack up to 5 years in prison. So let's talk about the incident in a little bit more detail. Now, so the incident recorded and known as the infamous Mr. Hands video was actually recorded at a 48-acre state farm in King County in Washington, and it was also known by a sergeant at a nearby sheriff's office that people would occasionally go to this 48-acre farm just to have sexual intercourse with this horse. And this horse was actually on Tate's property, who lived in a trailer next to this farm. And this farm was also discussed on many different chat rooms, and these were basically chat rooms discussing the best places to go and have sexual intercourse with animals, and this farm was up there on the forums. And hundreds of hours of videotapes of men having intercourse with these animals was actually found on this farm. So on the night of the Mr. Hands video, Pinion and Tate, along with one other unidentified man, snuck onto or into this barn on that same field. They'd often visit this barn to have sex with Big Dick, the horse. Tate went in first, had intercourse with the horse. After he finished, it was Pinion's go, in which Tate recorded the whole event. The horse ruptured his insides, or rather perforated his colon. He was dropped off at the hospital by the unidentified man, but by the time they reached the examination room, Pinion was already declared dead. They called this death an accident. So, just some quick notes on this now. First of all, why was this particular case of zoophilia so infamous? Because you had, for example, people such as Buddy Jensen who did this sort of stuff on tape professionally in the 40s all the way up to when she died in the mid-80s. Why was this one just so prominent and out there? Now my theory on this is of course to do with the backstory. It's just the fact that a man died because he took a horse penis. Obviously it's not funny, but it has some sort of comedic aspect to it, I suppose. You know, man dies due to penis. There's just something about this whole thing that makes it that story that everybody knows. And it's also a video that spawned many reaction videos over the years. For example, just like 2 Girls 1 Cup. And there's also a documentary that was made about this case in 2007. It was just called Zoo, which I'll now show you the trailer for actually. And you can find this on YouTube, by the way, so if you want to take a look at it for a more in-depth explanation about Pinion's life and whatnot, then go ahead and check it out. I watched it last night and it's interesting to say the least.
It was a great escape.
There is kind of a spiritual feeling because you're connecting with another intelligent being. Your friend didn't make it. He was not supposed to be dead. Stop right where you're at. You're being arrested for homicide.
People who have sex with animals should face felony convictions for animal cruelty.
What's the guy thinking? Screwing a horse?
These animals don't have the cognitive ability to consent. But how do they know the horse didn't consent? How in the world can this happen without consent?
The owner died, and the horse was left to fend for itself.
You don't know who else out there thinks how you think or feels how you feel.
I just said, take me to the horse. Stallions can be very dangerous.
Me personally, I don't need a whole lot of human contact. I'd rather just be with our animals.
We didn't know what his interaction had been with humans. Was he going to try to mount me?
Someone actually stood there and gave me some attention.
There was a kind of a rope thing with a small noose, and he said this is where he would work the horse. And I thought, well, what do you mean?
It's a very intense, wonderful kind of feeling.
And it was just so not real.
I don't think anything really can kind of compare to it.
But yeah, I watched it last night and it was a difficult watch. I've got to tell you that first of all. And by difficult, I don't mean the content was in it was dark and disturbing, kind of hard to watch, because the whole thing was obviously dark and disturbing in itself. By difficult, I mean that it's mainly just interviews of other zoophiles who knew Pinion or knew of Pinion, who'd also visited these farms to do things with the animals. And there were some pretty strange, memorable moments within this documentary as well. For example, they basically explained how these, should we call them sex parties, worked that these zoophiles would attend on this farm. And it started like any normal party, you know, drinking, chatting, and it basically ended in these people wanting to go and see the livestock and the farm animals, particularly the horses. And it was mentioned to these people at the party that they might get it or they might not get it. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. And when I say that they might get it or might not get it, it all depended on the horse's mood and how comfortable it was, basically. And to conclude it, in the end of this documentary, nothing too interesting really happened in the end. People were arrested over the Enumclaw case, and the horses were basically just sold off. And unfortunately, if I'm not wrong, the horse that caused the death of Pinion was actually castrated, so that the zoophiles of this community wouldn't buy this horse to continue doing things with it. And it's basically so that this horse was going to be sold to somebody who would take care of it properly. And as for the other horses on this farm, it doesn't really mention them that much. I'm not sure what the outcome was for those horses, but hopefully they were sold also to a good home and sold to people who will care for them and nurture them in the right way. So yeah, basically this whole case, this whole Mr. Hands case, it really gained notoriety for all the wrong reasons. And as for legality, let's step into that just for a little bit. There are people who, including myself, think that this video is illegal. And I've never seen it, because it's bestiality. However, there are lots and lots of people who claim to have seen the Mr. Hands video. And obviously, I'm no lawyer. I don't have an argument as to why I believe it's illegal, aside from the fact that it's bestiality. So why do we just brush this video under the carpet? And why do we call it just another shock video? Because in the end, I'm pretty sure that this video counts as animal sexual abuse. But yeah, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide, because I can't come to an answer regarding this video on the legality of it. So if anybody would like to explain that, please go ahead. And that's all I'm really going to say on the Mr. Hands case. There's not much else to say about it. I've given you a bit of background. There's a nice documentary there you might want to go watch. It's a little bit confusing, but it did help me understand the situation and what happened on that night, and it's pretty good. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I'm not sure if it's age restricted, but if it is, then you might just have to make a YouTube account. I don't know. But yeah, anyway guys, it's good to be back. I'm sorry if this one seemed a little bit messy. It's been about 2 weeks since I've bothered recording, so I tried to get back into the swing of things again. So yeah, I do apologise if it's a little bit scruffy and messy, but I've tried to make it as interesting as I can. And with that guys, thanks for watching, and if you'd like, subscribe, and maybe click that little bell next to the subscribe button. You get my latest updates. Pretty cool. Stay safe guys, and I'll see you in the next video.